What's going on YouTube? Uberman here. So I was reading through my YouTube comments and I saw one just a few minutes ago that said, hey, can you tell us a little bit about the good old days of Uber? That's the first time anybody has ever asked that, but I have been around since October of 2013, and I can tell you that things have changed a lot. Some things for the better, a lot of things just for the worse. So let me think of where to start. I don't script my videos, so I'm just going to kind of ramble through it, and hopefully you can stick with the program here. It won't be long, I can assure you of that. Let's talk about one of the greatest improvements with Uber, and that is their app. The app used to be so generic, guys. I wish I had some screenshots or something from 2013. It functioned, but it was just a very plain Jane, basic app. There were no frills. There was nothing cool about it. It's just a basic app that worked. Now, in one sense, it's a good thing, and in one sense, maybe not so much. Granted, the app now is just crazy amazing. You have surge combs, honeycombs for surge zones. Used to, one whole city would light up in surge. Now you can see each individual area, which, you know, that's kind of cool. The app back in the day had a lot of bugs and crashed a lot. There were a lot of issues. The app today has a lot of bugs, a lot of crashes, a lot of issues. So I guess not much has changed there. But you know what? The generic app back in the old days, it worked for the most part. It worked. It was simple to use. The GUI, graphical user interface, was very user friendly. It wasn't complicated. There was nothing you had to figure out. Now there's so many different things in the app. You've got tabs with sub-tabs, and you've got some sub-tabs under those. It can be really complicated for a new driver to jump into it and go, wow, where do I find this? Where do I find that? It can get kind of complicated. Back in the day, very simple, guys. The app was very simple. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's a little nicer to have more options in the driver app today, but at the same time, it was also nicer to just be able to log in, do what you need to do, and get offline. Without all the frills. Another benefit to the old days, $2, and I think it's close to $2.50 a mile. I may be just a little bit off. I mean, it has been over 3 years. But rates were somewhere between $2.25 and $2.50 a mile. Can you imagine that? If you've been around long enough, you don't have to imagine it, because you can remember. You can remember when you could take a 5-mile run and end up making over $10. Think about that. How long does it take you to make $10 driving today? I remember it, guys, and that was with no surge at all. Rates in my market today in Oklahoma City are 70 cents a mile and 11 cents a minute. It used to be around $2.25 a mile and 50 cents a minute without surge. And because Uber was fairly new here, once it took off, meaning you could get surge throughout the day. All types of times of day, you could get out there and make some serious money, because surge back then, New Year's Eve, surge would hit 8 and 9 times. 8, 9 times at over $2 a mile, guys. No joke. Man, I broke $1,000 my first New Year's Eve out here in Oklahoma City. Night. New Year's Eve. Night. Guys, I could get carried away on this, because those were the days. And you know what? It is probably what is most discouraging to me today. One of two things that are most discouraging to me today. The rates, obviously. You know, I really can. When I get a good surge run, I'm like, man, I nailed it. I got it, man. You know, I hit 5.8 times. And then you see your payout, and it's like $36. There was a time that I would be hitting $15 a mile, and that same trip could have easily been $150, and now it's like $36. Just giving you an example. I'm not sitting here running the numbers exactly, so for those of you that want to do that, the numbers aren't going to match up. But I'm saying I do remember being able to take runs and see these great payouts, and it was happy, it was exciting. And now I take these runs even with surge, and it's like, it's disappointing, because I can still look back and remember what it used to be. With that being said, one of the biggest disappointments, next to, maybe even equal to, the pricing, or the lack thereof, is the way drivers seem to be treated by what I believe is the majority of passengers these days. Guys, when I started in 2013, this was a brand new service here, okay? Customers were excited. Customers were thrilled. Customers were happy. They would get in the car and they'd be like, this is amazing. You can push a button and get a car right at your door. Wow, this is crazy. And you know what? They tipped. They did. They tipped, even though the whole thing with Uber saying tipping is not required. Passengers back then tipped a lot more. They were so used to using a taxi cab and tipping that when they got in, they just felt the need to tip. I got tons of tips back in the day. That didn't last long. Kind of like the rates. Customers were very friendly. They were really nice. They were happy. They were thankful. They were more than thankful. They were grateful to use our service. Uber was just the best thing since sliced bread to the passengers back in the day. They were courteous. They were respectful of your car. They had great conversation. And it's not like that today, guys. Granted, you can still have some good times, some good conversation, but I mean, a lot of time it's just literally just like a taxi cab. They get in your car and it's like, take me to the airport. And then they sit on their phone. You know, just... I'm not saying it's always like that. But guys, it's changed. Things have really changed out here. You get a lot more pukers. You've got a lot more disrespectful, bad attitude individuals. You've got a lot of people that are just self-entitled pricks. It can get rough. You know, it really can. I've seen news articles where drivers have been shot, drivers have been hit, drivers have been stabbed, drivers have been carjacked, drivers have been robbed of their money. Maybe this was inevitable from the beginning, but it's sad. It's really sad because when I first started with Uber, I was in a rough spot, fresh out of a divorce and losing a six-figure income, my business. I was in a really tough spot. And then I found Uber. Maybe Uber found me. It was on a Facebook post and I couldn't believe it. And me being me, I always have to go out and try it out, you know. My YouTube channel really wasn't anything yet. I had probably 600 subscribers back then for some how to hack your cell phone type deals that I was doing back in the day. You know, nothing to write home about. But, you know, I saw this Uber thing and I couldn't believe it. I was like, drive your own car, make up to $50,000 a year. Hey, back then, guys, it was no problem. No problem to drive part-time, make 50 grand a year. Little did I know where things were going to go from there. Now, guys, Uber's still great. I don't want to totally trash talk them or anything. Uber set me on my way to where I am today, and hopefully I'm going to bigger and better places in the future. So I don't want to sit here and just bash Uber. Uber is still great. There's a lot of people that can really make a decent living driving with Uber. It's just a lot more difficult today than it used to be. And if you're going to be an Uber driver, you had best be someone that is exceptional at adaptation. Uber changes sometimes day to day. You have to be able to change just as quick with it, or you're going to get left behind. You're going to find yourself terminated or quitting, trying to find another job. But, hey, you know what? I've always believed that Uber was a great part-time income. I believe that is where Uber really shines. People try to make it a full-time gig. It becomes a whole lot more difficult. But guys, you wanted some good stories? That's it, man. You know, things used to be a lot nicer, friendlier. You made more money. Surge was better, that's for damn sure. Uber Pool didn't exist. We don't have it here, but I know a lot of you are thinking, oh, Uber Pool sucks. So with that being said, guys, the video's 9 minutes. I could go on, but let's just cut it off there. If you've got any of your stories, maybe you were a driver back in the day, please feel free to comment below, or if you make a video, post a link to it in the comment section below. I'd be happy to take a look and hear your thoughts as well. As always, like, comment, subscribe, be safe out there, and Uber on.